Hi there, Jill and Emily here. And we are chatting about something that I'd say, know a lot about. And that is being a part of an online community.
Mhm.
Um, Jill and I have been in a lot of different groups over the years,
Right.
particularly, private Facebook groups
hmm Paid groups.
where other people or even we have developed an online community and grown it. And
Right.
we want
Yes.
to talk with you today about some of the things that you should be looking for in a community that will really be to your benefit, that will help you grow. So, we're going to talk about a few things that we really, really want you to focus on when you are deciding if a particular online community works or will work for you. All
Right. Because
right.
there's so many
So the
options
first
out
thing
there,
we
you
want to
all.
get into, right,
Yes.
there are a lot of different options, and there are some things that do matter. So one
hmm
of the first things we want to jump right into and talk about is relationships. So with everything in these online communities, we're going to say these things matter. We feel like relationships really do matter. The relationship piece is where we are going to build connections with the other members and feel a certain level of support and be able to go there and get advice, feeling not intimidated, but really comfortable with just reaching out and knowing you'll get some expert advice or someone who really is just in the same shoes as you. All right,
Right.
Jill, what do you think?
Yeah. So groups can be more of a peer-to-peer type of community group. They can be a mentorship type of group. They can be a combination of both. I think the best communities have an intentional space where people can connect on different levels. But one thing that I think is really important about these relationships and the type of community that you're building it, I love how Emily said that you feel comfortable, you feel like safe to come in and share your struggles or your wins and things like that. But I also think you need to look at that group and like their expert expectations for participation. So sometimes you want to be in a group where you are showing up every week. You need to let people know, here's what I'm doing. It's like this level of accountability. And sometimes you want to be in a group that's a little bit bigger so that you can actually kind of step in, step out a little bit, and be a fly on the wall, be a little more active when you have the time or the interest, but there's maybe not as much expectation for you to be participating. And the same thing with that level of support, because there can be different levels of support based on the kind of community it is. Like a mastermind tends to be a smaller, more intimate group where you might have 10 people, 20 people, and that's it. Right. And so in those smaller groups, you really do need to be active and show up because if you step away, it'll be very noticed, right? Because it's kind of like you need the whole group there to be participating. If you're in a medium, size group and everything, then you can still build those relationships. You get to know people enough, but it's okay if you need to step back a little bit. And so that's something I really like to look at is, are there people that I want to get into community with, build relationships with, that I trust and that I value, their thoughts and their opinions and how they speak to each other, right? Like the values of that community. But I also look at, is it okay to kind of come and go a little bit, or do I feel that need to be a part of it all the time? And you have to decide what it is that you're looking for from that group when we think about relationships, right? So that's what I would say is one of the very top things you're looking for in an online community, because that is the entire part of the community, right? But you also want to look at like the professional development area of it. So are you looking for a group that also provides some sort of training, right? Like that you can, as a part of that group, you can actually be learning and growing as a business owner. So, what are like some of those things that you think of when you think about the groups you've been a part of, Emily, and what that might look like? What would people be looking for?
In certain groups that I've been in where it really feels more like where I'm going to be growing as a professional, there may be either monthly topics, there
Mm-hmm.
may be specific trainings, there may be even guest speakers coming in that you know, okay, this isn't just run by the admin of the group. This is a person who is invested in a particular topic or a particular subject area of education and is going to bring in high quality presentations into the group, whether it be weekly, monthly, however they structure it. And we're going to be able not only to learn from that person, but we're also going to have a chance to interact with them and connect with them, ask questions. So helpful. So that's really where you feel like you have a nice sense of growth.
Yes. And so I like that when a group has some intentionality to it. It doesn't necessarily have to have a curriculum, right? Like a course
Right.
does, but having some intentionality for these are times that we focus on certain topics, and those mentors and the creators of the group really do make it easier for you to get proficiency in whatever it is that you're looking for in that group, right? Because and no group can give you everything, you guys. So, definitely don't put that pressure on them, but they can definitely connect you with a lot if you find the right group for you. Another type of group that you could find is one that focuses more on resources for you. Now, I have been in these a little bit less, but there are some communities out there where they're sharing a lot of things that you can actually implement right away. I've seen these in a lot of education communities where they're memberships, and every month there's a packet of materials that comes out that you can use in your classroom. So that is another thing that if that is important for you, that you look at what are the types of resources that community might be sharing with you, so that you would know how you can use them. So yeah.
Absolutely. All right. And then the third thing that is a really big piece that when Jill and I were planning this video, realized that it has a really, it really is more important than we ever thought possible.
Yeah.
And that is size. Jill and I have a couple of different things. I see that the size of the group, that means the actual number of members in the online community, can really influence you in a variety of ways. If some groups, I think, have a much more of, let's say, a forceful tone. I've been in some there where they have a specific agenda and they want to influence your decisions and they want you to go in the direction that they are leading the group in. But some other groups might just be what we call a determiner. That means you watch the content, you are listening to members, you're asking questions, and from there, it's going to determine the path you wish to take. Whether you choose to take the advice of the admin or whoever's leading the group or the other members, or not. So the size is going to matter. There are pros and cons. Jill can certainly get into, what are the pros and cons of being in a very small or a small intimate size group or being in a really large scaled group, having access to lots of different experiences. What do you think?
Right, exactly. Like this is where I have been in I've been in a group of 4 people, and that is more of a mastermind style, but online that would likely be a group of 10 or 20 people, maybe, if it's a mastermind. So like a mastermind group is going to be where you have a smaller group of people that really are working on things like together, right? And so the smaller the group, the more attention that you get, right? The other people really get to know your business, your personality, your values, the things you're working on, the things you're struggling with, and you get to build these really close relationships, right? But the challenges with a small group might be your responsibility for showing up. So in a smaller group, you really need people to show up in order to make it effective. So if half the group is just kind of like stepping out for a while, suddenly the group loses its vitality, right? And so in a smaller group, you're kind of committing to saying, I'm showing up a little bit more. And that's great if that's what you're looking for. In a more medium-sized group, and when we talk about this, online, medium could still be several hundred people. And it doesn't necessarily feel like several hundred people, okay? So it might sound huge because if you put them in a room, it'd be huge. but it's not. Emily and I have both have run groups that are in several hundreds that don't feel like it's several hundred people in the
Right.
group.
Oh,
And
right.
one of those medium-sized groups might be the perfect fit for you because you have enough people to get different ideas and like different perspectives. You get to learn from a wide variety of ways that people approach things in their business. With a slightly larger group, there might be more resources for you, right? Because the group owners might be able to put into more trainings, more mentors, more guests, and things like that with that larger group. But you still don't feel lost. And so for me, I love a medium-sized group. I like knowing that if I choose to show up, that the group owner and the people that are training and that I'm going to for advice, they will get to know me and my business because I'm not just one of thousands. So I really like that about like a medium-sized group. But what I also like about a medium-sized group is that there isn't as much
Absolutely.
pressure,
I think,
yeah, to be there all the time.
right. And, as we go through these points with you, we want you to really, I think, just reflect on what are the things that you're seeking?
Mhm.
What are your goals that you hope to achieve by being in the group? And, how do the values of the group that you are about to join or that you're in, how do they align with you
Mhm.
and what
Right.
you're trying to achieve, whether it be business related or professional development and so forth. So these are all really important points that I think just are when you're looking to see, is this community the right fit for you, that you sort of think about and hopefully find it whether you think this will be the best fit.
Yes, absolutely. So I hope you use some of these ideas as you are looking at communities and opportunities to join through this year. New things will be coming down the road, and there are things that are already out there right now that you can join. And sometimes it can be a little hard to know where your place is in the world of online communities. And so we hope these give you some ways that you can find one that is a perfect fit for you. Thanks for being here with us, you guys.
Bye.